when myself and other members of my department try to get something done to where these kids are better prepared when they enter high school, we're told that no, the curriculum they're being taught is just fine. There's nothing wrong with it. The kids have success. There must be something wrong with their instruction here at the high school, which basically says that they've bought into the hype. They've told the community that their curriculums are sound and strong and prepare these kids well, and there's problems there. They're not prepared. They're clearly not prepared. When I have a class of 20 and 15 of them get Fs, there's a problem there. When I teach basically the same way and the same material to kids 3 years ago, and I don't have that kind of a situation, there's a problem there. And they don't want to acknowledge it. And I don't know why they don't want to acknowledge it. Political reasons. They don't want to say they've made a mistake. They don't want to say that maybe things aren't as rosy as they seem. Maybe it's economics. They can't afford to overhaul things. Who knows? But it's hard to deal with people who, it's hard to deal with things when the people in charge kind of have their head in the sand a little bit. And yet another reason why I don't want to get up in the morning and come to work.
Well, I think he's got to broaden his perspective here. It's the same everywhere. I've worked for three school systems, and it's the same story everywhere. The lack of support. It's always the teacher's fault. There's no individual accountability, that kind of thing. The teachers that aren't doing anything but suck up get rewarded. And teachers that have standards are always in trouble. So that's pretty much the way it is.
I don't know why things have changed. I don't know why so many people just, shut their door and block out the rest of the world, but they do. And I think the kids are doing it too. Their apathy is a way for them to just block out what they don't want to hear, to block out what they don't want to, deal with. As much as they don't want to make choices, they are. They're making a choice not to listen, not to be aware, not to be bothered. And I think that, the segment of the population that's active is not being heard because the segment of the population that just cares about themselves, doesn't care about changing the world for everybody, doesn't care about making things better for everyone. They just want to make things better for themselves. I think that segment of the population is much greater. And the irony is they want things for themselves. They want stuff, they want wealth, they want fame, they want whatever, and yet they don't want to do anything about it. They don't want to put in any effort.
That's
Any number times zero equals zero. I don't know how you change that. Unless somebody has experienced problems firsthand, I don't think they're ever going to change. And I don't know. I don't know what you do to stem the tide. I think you just got to hope that enough people with an education, enough people with knowledge, begin to stand up and take back the debate. But I would hope that we get back to a point where people realize that a good education isn't a right, it's a privilege, and it's an obligation. Not a privilege, it's an obligation. I think you have to be well educated, not you deserve to be well educated. Because once people think that way, it cheapens it. I think there's two kinds of teachers. There's probably more than two, but the two that come to mind are the people in my situation, the people that care and take that pain around with them everywhere because they do care. And then there are teachers that just don't care. They just come in and they do their job, and it doesn't matter to them. They'll fudge grades for kids. They'll look the other way because they don't care. Because teaching is just for them a means to an end. It's not a profession. It's not a livelihood. It's not a calling. They just come here and they're punching a clock. And they'll, if an administrator would come to them and say, this kid really needs to pass, they say, okay, they'll pass. I find that repugnant that we would manipulate grades when we're talking, when we have so much criticism coming from the outside, that there are so many people inside that just mirror that just say, yeah, they don't care. And the quality of education is poor because of people like that. And then, like I said, there's people like me who really still do care. And you go to the bar on payday and with a few people who do, and after a couple of beers, it still isn't any better. But what are you going to do? And I can't not care,